The villagers thought it was over, that Tamara had claimed her vengeance, that the gods were satisfied. But the dead do not return without cost. And Tamara's resurrection was only the beginning. Something ancient had awakened with her, something that would not rest until every oath was honored and every betrayal paid in blood. Tamara stood beneath the sacred Iroko tree, its gnarled roots glistening from the night's storm. Rain still dripped from her tangled hair, but her eyes burned with a fire not of this world. The wind howled, whispering the names of those who had wronged her, but it also whispered of imbalance, of a door left open between realms. Tamara did not feel alive. Her body moved, but her soul lingered somewhere between worlds. The villagers whispered when she walked past, crossing themselves, clutching charms, unsure whether to run or bow. Some claimed her spirit was no longer hers, that she had come back not alone, but as a vessel for something ancient. She couldn't deny it. At night, her dreams bled into waking life. She heard a voice calling to her, not from the wind, but from beneath her feet. Tamara. It began as a whisper through stone and clay. Then the earth under her bed pulsed like a heartbeat. Her skin itched with invisible soil, and her breath grew heavy with the scent of crushed petals and old blood. One night, unable to bear it, she followed the call beyond the edge of the village, where the land dipped into forgotten ground. There stood an ancient fig tree, blackened and gnarled, with roots like twisted limbs grasping the soil. Her grandmother had once warned her never to go there. "That is where the unspeakable sleeps," she had said. But Tamara was no longer afraid of the unspeakable. As she approached, the wind died. The world fell still. Then the earth shifted. The roots of the fig tree trembled, and a thin crack split the soil beneath her. A hum rose from the ground, not mechanical, but human. A song. Wailing, layered voices, singing in a tongue older than memory. Tamara knelt and placed both palms flat against the dirt. Her fingers burned with cold, her vision blurred, and the earth opened, not in violence, but in sorrow, like a wound remembering its pain. A soft blue light bled from beneath the cracked ground, and the soil around her hands began to crumble, revealing a staircase of ancient stone. Something moved inside her, something she didn't control, but did not resist. Barefoot and trembling, she descended. Beneath the fig tree lay a catacomb carved from black rock, glowing with pale bioluminescent moss and twisted roots. The walls were covered in carvings, hundreds of veiled women, their eyes sealed with wax, their mouths pierced shut, their hands bound in sorrow. At the center stood a low platform, and on it a single wedding veil, untouched by time. The voice came again, clear and aching. "Place it on." Tamara reached for the veil. The moment the fabric touched her skin, the carvings on the walls shuddered. A scream echoed through the crypt, the sound of souls awakening. And from the stone they came, brides, translucent, veiled, shimmering with ancient pain. The first bride stepped forward. Her hair was in coils, her wrists shackled with ceremonial iron. "I am Nkiru," she said, "bride of Obiora I. I was buried beneath this tree, my tongue removed for speaking against the right." Tamara's eyes widened. "Obiora I?" Another spirit stepped forward, "And I was wife to Obiora III. My womb was empty, so they fed me to the earth. And I," said another, "was chosen by Obiora VII. I bled on the wrong day." One by one they came, dozens, each a different century, a different Chief Obiora. It was then Tamara understood. It had never been about purity, never about honor. It was a covenant, a ritual sacrifice passed from father to son, from chief to chief, cloaked in tradition and fear. Each new Chief Obiora was told, "Choose a bride, one who is clever, one who burns bright but has a flaw. Then offer her to the land. The fig tree will drink, the power will remain. Tamara trembled. But why me? She whispered. Nkiru stepped closer, her eyes twin lanterns of grief and fire. Because you were never meant to live, but you did. You broke the circle. Another bride added, you are the one who rose. And when one rises, others follow. The brides formed a circle. Their veils brushed the ground, whispering against stone. Through you, they said in one voice, we awaken. Tamara ascended the stone steps again, but not alone. The fig tree split open at its trunk, releasing a thick silver mist. The air howled, the earth wailed. Behind her came the brides, no longer silent, no longer bound. Each carried her death with her, the marks of rope, poison, blade, fire, but their eyes shone with stormlight. Their voices fused into a single chant that made the birds fall from trees and the ground swell beneath their feet. In the village, thunder cracked the skies open. Tamara reached the palace gates. She did not knock. The gates opened themselves. Chief Obiora stood on the steps, paralyzed with terror. He saw them, his bride, and the brides of his bloodline, every generation of his house exposed, every secret unearthed. You don't understand, he stammered. It was never me. It was my father, and his father. But you let it continue, Tamara said. You chose silence. You chose the veil. Nkiru stepped forward. Her voice was a blade. We were the sacrifice for your power. Now we are the storm that ends it. One by one, the brides reached for the palace walls. Where they touched, the stone turned to ash. Statues of patriarchs crumbled. Ancestor masks caught fire. Tamara raised her arms, her veil now made of flame and bone. Today, the earth returns what you buried. And as the rain fell, sharp as needles and smelling of myrrh, the people of the village gathered in stunned silence. They watched as the fig tree's roots burst through the palace and the mist swallowed the compound whole. To this day, the fig tree stands hollow. At night, villagers say you can hear weeping and laughter, and in the wind a chant. We were not cursed, we were sacrificed, but now we are awake. Thank you for watching part 2 of Tamara's story. If you thought the first part was haunting, this chapter shows just how deep the roots of tradition and betrayal can grow. Tamara didn't just rise from the grave, she brought the past with her. What do you think she became in the end? A spirit of vengeance, a queen of the forgotten, or something far older? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Enchanted African Realms for more powerful stories where the past refuses to stay buried. Until next time, remember, not all who rest, rest in peace.